Howdy, and welcome to the first Build Interwebz web development tutorial video. In this video, I'm going to talk about three things. I'm going to talk about my angle on this video series, how we're going to teach it. I'm going to talk about some software programs you need to download, some free software programs you need to download for this series. And I'm going to talk about how to build a real simple web page, pretty much a blank web page. Okay, so first thing, my angle on teaching this video. Over the years, I've taught a couple folks how to build websites, and I've had quite a few other people ask me to teach them to build websites, and their goal is generally to become a professional front-end web developer. So that's how I'm going to teach this. I'm going to give you the skills as quickly as possible to become a professional front-end web developer and start putting resumes out there and get hired for this kind of stuff. If you have another angle, if you work with web developers and you need to know a little code, or if you want to learn a certain programming language or something like that, totally let me know. Shoot me an email, and we can make this specific for your needs. Okay, there are a couple software programs we need to download. These programs are all free unless I mention otherwise. You're going to need a code editor like Sublime Text 2. Sublime Text 2 is good for Windows, Mac, and Linux. Notepad++ is another good text editor. It's Windows only, I believe. Text Wrangler is on Mac. If you're on Mac, you could also use TextMate. That's not free though, but a lot of people like it. You'll need a program to be able to upload and download your files to a server. I like FileZilla for that. It's an FTP client, File Transfer Protocol. Make sure to get the client one. Okay, you'll need to download all the different web browsers because we need to make sure the websites we build work for everybody, regardless of what web browser they're using: Chrome, Safari, Firefox, Internet Explorer. So we'll get all the ones I just mentioned, all the big ones. Download Chrome, download Safari, download Firefox, and if you're on Windows, you'll already have a version of Internet Explorer. Depending on what version of Windows you're running, XP, Vista, Windows 7, or Windows 8, determines what version of Internet Explorer you can use. Generally, you can't run more than one version of Internet Explorer on your system at a time unless you do some tricky stuff. The best way to get around that is to get BrowserStack. So go ahead and go to browserstack.com, I believe it is, and sign up for the free trial they have there, and then we can test in all the different browsers real quickly, and we can test in all the different versions of Internet Explorer real quickly. There's no good way to test in all the different browsers for free. There are quite a few different ways people try to do it, but in my experience, BrowserStack is going to be the best. We can get into virtual machines and how to have multiple versions of Windows on your machine at a time, but still then you would have to go out and buy all the different versions of Windows, the full operating systems. So like I said, there's no great cheap way to do it. I'm sure people have their opinions on their ways, but in my experience, BrowserStack's the best. It's about $30 a month once the free trial ends, so I recommend it. Okay, we shall also need to get Photoshop for this series. Adobe is currently offering the Creative Cloud Suite Photoshop, which is $10 a month. You might also feel inclined to get the full Creative Cloud Suite at $50 a month. That includes stuff we don't need like InDesign, but it will also have some stuff that we could use like Illustrator, Typekit, something like that. You may be able to find Photoshop online, someplace like Amazon or something still. CS6, Creative Suite 6, or Creative Suite 5 would be fine. There's also a free program like Photoshop called GIMP. GIMP is great, but it's different enough from Photoshop just to be annoying. All the keystrokes are different and stuff like that. So I'm not going to be doing any GIMP stuff in these videos, but if you're following along in GIMP because you can't afford Photoshop or something, let me know, and maybe we can tailor this to your needs. So go ahead and download all that stuff I just mentioned, and once you're all set, open up your text editor. I'm using Sublime Text. And I'm going to create a new document, Control N. If you're on Mac, that would be Command N. And type in this stuff here. So this is a simple HTML page. HTML pages are made of tags, and here we have an HTML tag, a head tag, a title tag, and a body tag. Inside the title tag, I'm going to write my title, and then in the body, I'm going to write H1. This is my heading. And then I'm going to save this, Control S or Command S if you're on a Mac. I'm going to save it on my desktop as hello world.html. All HTML pages end in HTML or HTM. I believe HTML is more common. Okay. So I'm going to load this in my web browser. I'm going to close my windows. Okay, so if you are on Windows like I am, your path to your desktop will look something like this. You would use your own username that you logged in as here, and then this is the file that you just saved to your desktop. If you're on Mac, I believe you can just grab the file on your desktop and drag it into the address bar in Chrome. That doesn't work on Windows for some reason. Okay, I'm going to load up that web page. So you'll see here we have my title, and then here we have this is my heading. So if we look back here, this is the my title, so that's the title tag, and then here's the this is my heading, that's my H1 tag. So we have all HTML pages are wrapped in an HTML tag, the entire page is wrapped in that, and then we have the head tag, which is information for the browser, it doesn't go out directly to the page, and then we have the body tag, which is everything that does go out directly to the page. So the title tag that goes inside the head is the name of the tab for the page, and then that's this guy, and then the H1 is the heading tag. We could put all kinds of different heading tags, 1 through 6. H1 is generally the largest heading on the page. That's why we get this big old font here. Okay, I want to add a couple things real quick to this. Okay, so this is the same stuff we had before, but I added 2 weird tags in here. Okay. Always use these tags. We're not going to get into all the details, but you do always want to use this. So this is the very first thing on your page. It's doc type HTML, and it starts with an exclamation mark. This is a weird tag, and it just says, hey, this is an HTML document. This one says, hey, I'm using this UTF-8 character set. So that's pretty much like you know, in the US, for example, this is the most common char set. If we needed to use an Asian language, you know, Chinese, Japanese, something like that, we might use a different char set. If you don't include this tag, your page will load like ours just did, but it's actually a security vulnerability. I think there's a cross-site scripting vulnerability if you don't use your char set, if you don't declare your char set. And then also if you don't put this as the very first thing inside the head, some browsers will parse the page again. It'll get here and then it'll start over or something. So that would slow things down a bit. So always include these 2 weird tags just to keep things off on the right foot. Okay, so that is our first video. In the next video, we're going to get all into HTML tags a little bit more.